Here at Barley Nectar, we are building the world's first blockchain-backed whiskey club and whiskey distillery. I'm Alistair MacDonald, and a bit of context on me. I am the 8th generation consecutively to work within the Scottish whisky industry. So as a family, we've been doing it for an extremely long time. This started with Long John MacDonald, who in the 1820s took on the Ben Nevis distillery on the west coast of Scotland. Along with his son, Donald Peter MacDonald, they championed the distillery and made it one of the biggest single malt Scottish whisky companies. Their children, so initially Colonel William MacDonald and then Major Andrew MacDonald, steered the company through quite a rocky time in the whisky world in the early 20th century, and they initially sold both one of the brands and then later the distillery. My grandfather, so Major Andrew's son, Rory MacDonald, initially sold whisky in New York, going bar to bar. And back then in the 50s, whenever you sold any whisky, you'd have to drink a whisky. So he'd spend the afternoon every day going to have a nap in the local cinema to try and sleep it off. He then opened another distillery in Glencoe on the west coast of Scotland, and then ultimately sold that to Ben Nevis distillery, back to Ben Nevis. My father, Ian Peter, he works in the beer industry, and arguably beer is just a younger version of whiskey. And now finally we and myself are opening a new whiskey distillery on the west coast of Scotland. Location-wise, it's based just between Fort William and Spian Bridge. This is actually very close to Ben Nevis, the highest mountain in the UK, and is on the site where the first shot of the Jacobite rebellion was first fired. This was a very famous war in the UK in the 18th century. Now, what we're doing. Whilst our distillery is being built, Barley Nectar is a blockchain-based whiskey club. Now, what that means is that we are releasing 400 membership tokens. We're calling these Angels shares. Now, for those lucky 400 who own the Angels shares, they get two primary benefits. Firstly, they every month get to become the whiskey maker. Now, what I mean by this is that the group of 400 will vote on a specific cask to finish and then bottle. So we've picked amazing whiskey from all over Scotland, from many of the most popular distilleries in the world. And this group will pick the cask and pick the finish. And the most popular option each month will be finished and bottled. These are all already matured casks that are all ready to be drunk. Really interesting stuff. So they receive once a month, they get to make the decision about what we bottle, and then they receive one of those bottles. Secondly, the membership itself comes with the rights to a full physical barrel or cask of whiskey from our own distillery. Now, this is going to be ready in about a year to 24 months. And at that point, they get full ownership of a cask for themselves. We store it for them in ideal conditions in our warehousing in Scotland, and then they can choose to do whatever they wish with this. So either they can hold on to it, and the value of whiskey typically goes up over time, so they could see it as an investment. Alternatively, they could drink it, or finally, they could just sell it on to somebody else, but it's theirs to do with as they see fit. So what we're looking to do is take this membership with us, so these 400 people, and go with them on this journey to building this distillery and get everything set up. And as I say, making them part of the whole process of actually making the whiskey. They're not just clients, they're part of the process. You know, they become sort of partners with us on this journey. So yeah, please, if you're interested, check out the website and get involved. Cheers.